My sweet little baby, been wrong again. Heaven's little angel, spent the night with my best friend. They got stone drunk and naked. Foolishness won't end.
Hi, this is Steve Hefter, and for Rock Roots and Blues Live, and we're here at Ram's Head in Annapolis, and I'm here with Anders Osborne. Anders, thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephen.
I appreciate it. You're here tonight. You're doing a solo acoustic show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sort of in between all the other stuff, I like to go out and do a couple of songs here and there.
Yeah, I haven't seen you play solo acoustic. I'm looking forward to the show tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was Crawfest?
It was good.
Yeah?
In Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was great. We were having a really good time and had a great band.
So I gravitate towards musicians that have a lot of passion, and that's why I like you.
Oh.
And so where do you think that comes from?
The passion itself?
Yeah, for you, personally.
Oh, for me personally?
Yeah.
There's a healing aspect. There's a comfort level of letting yourself go. There's something about not having to control everything for a few moments here and there in life. There's not many things where you do that. Most of the time, you know, we strive to be in some form of control of what's going on. And I think the passion side of things is, you know, obviously I love music, but I think I'm also, you know, it's a bit of an obsession. So the actual part of music that's almost like a curse, that's not always great. But when you give into it and you show the passion to the gods of music, when you let it go. Mm-hmm. So I think that's hence the passion. If you're talking about on stage and my performance part of it.
Yeah, any aspect of it, your performance, but maybe writing, maybe, you know,
okay.
What keeps you plugged in?
Yeah, I think that's it. There's a lot of different things going on. You know, there's the striving to connect with people, to feel like you're contributing something. There's part of trying to contribute something that's similar to the great artists that, you know, influenced me. I want to do the same to other people. Mm-hmm. That's kind of I think the starting point. Like, I want to do that. I want to make other people feel that,
right.
Or at least do it so that I feel the same when I do it. And then you grow older and more mature and crafty with it. So now I think the passion kicks in. Now you have to let go a lot because you know a lot about it.
Right.
So you're pretty versatile at your craft. So now you got to learn to, like, I think release a little bit of yourself into, you know, that innocence when you can.
So you have the tools, right? And now it's just sort of.
And the tools are great, but they can definitely get in the way of crafting songs and trying to be clever and tell people preachy stuff or, you know, whatever. And I think my passion lies within the journey of this universe of music that seems to be my first language.
Yeah.
More than any other language that I learned, it seems like music, I always understood it. And I see all the fans that come out, that's their first language. That's what they dig.
Yeah.
That's why they come to shows, write articles, have newspapers, music stores.
Do interviews
like you, Steve.
Yeah.
It's the same. This is my language. This is what I get.
So speaking of traveling younger, when you were young,
yeah.
I did a little bit of research. So when you were younger, you took off and did a lot of traveling, right? You were in Europe and Asia. And
I hitchhiked through all of that, and it was you know, a mixture of innocence and ignorance, not knowing the dangers that could be out there. I wasn't really looking for anything particular, to be honest with you. I was more than anything, maybe just looking for myself, you know, trying to figure out my place in the world. And you have to see a little bit of the world to figure out your place in the world, maybe.
Did you find it?
Yes, I think I did. I think I found myself in various stages and in different ways. I figured out that I'm a certain way with certain people. I'm in a certain way by myself. I'm a certain way, you know, in certain environments. And I think that makes me more comfortable being on this planet, is to know that there's so many different roles to play. You can't, where I'm not comfortable just sticking to a thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I did. I wonder what age that was. I think there was definitely something confusing, but very exciting in my 20s. Very confident. But it was a confidence that was more on top of something very insecure.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
stuff from your childhood and teenage years that's very adolescent insecurities. All that stuff was there, but there was I think the travels and the stuff that I managed to, you know, to see and do brought me a lot of confidence. All that was erased in my 40s. I had to start over.
Did you? Why?
Yeah, no, I just
because of the age or because of any particular?
No, I think it was just, you know, anything from, you know, being beat down by, you know, the addiction problems I had, to personality, character defects that I had that I realized I'm like, oh my God. And I think the beauty of when you get a little older, it's more charming to find out about other people than yourself. That's more a youth obsession, I think. So I think that the cool part about losing yourself a bit, you know, as I did in my 40s, it was fun to start to discover things about my wife that I didn't know, get into my kids deeper and better, and their friends and their moms and just my neighborhood, you know, get to know my fans better.
What is your?
You know, musicians I play with. Stuff.
Sorry, I was just gonna ask, what is your home life? So how long have you been married?
16 years.
Oh, really? And do you have children?
Got 2. Yep, they're almost 13 and 15.
Oh, okay. Oh, you got a ways to go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I've been through that.
Yeah, I was like, I guess I was 36 or something before I had my kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's pros and cons to that.
Yeah, it took some adjusting, but I think I wasn't ready prior to that.
Yeah. Why'd you settle in New Orleans? Of all the places, why New Orleans?
I think it's a mutual thing, you know. When you find a place, it's also a place finds you. I think and I think, again, like we talked about earlier, I think a lot of things, you know, where you're born, really how much does that matter, unless it matters to you, right? So in my case, there is absolutely nothing that I understand about where I came from.
Which is?
I was born in a small town on the western side of Sweden. And not that there's, it just, I don't know, to this day, I still don't. I've tried several times to go back. I have no idea. I have no idea what that is. Who they are, what they say. It feels like, and it may be rude to say that, but I have no idea.
Oh no, home is where your heart is, right?
Well, it can be both ways. It can be where you're born. It can be, you know, but like my daughter, you know, and she's talking about where she's going after New Orleans.
Oh, she's leaving.
Probably, yeah. I think she's pretty strong on it. She's got ideas. But it goes back and forth. So, I mean, you know, to answer your question, I think partially, I mean, to be fair also, I do have family in New Orleans. I have family in Lafayette, so there's a tie and a connection.
Okay.
That made more sense than where I was born. So
Okay.
as a teenager, you know, it felt more like coming back to where I was supposed to be.
Right.
But there's nothing positive or negative about it. It's just more a factual thing. That's where I ended up. I stay there, spent half part of my teenage years in New Orleans, so it kind of feels like that's where I'm from.
Yeah.
But I did not go to graduate school in New Orleans. But there's a lot to love about the city, though. It's very artist friendly, so I think my personality fits pretty well there. People like to discuss things. They like to talk about. Actually, Baltimore's a lot similar in a sense. There's a blue collar situation that's deeply embedded, right? And it's the same in New Orleans, but there's a very, very, very wealthy old family money stuff that goes on. But they like to mingle. I don't know about Baltimore, but in New Orleans, we mingle.
Yeah.
All the classes and genres. I try to stay away from race because I think that's ridiculous to talk about the differences of race. But class is definitely something that's there. I don't know. There's just a thing because it's a small place, very isolated. It's an island. It's all surrounded by water. So you have to get along. If you're within the boundaries of Orleans Parish, with some extension into Kenner, you're going to have to get along.
Yeah. I've been there. I love it.
You know what I'm talking about.
I do. I haven't lived there, but I've been there. I've visited.
New Orleans is actually made up out of people that are there for the first time on a Sunday afternoon. That's New Orleans, as much as people that are sixth generation. And you can ask most New Orleanians that. That's a belief. It's the makeup of New Orleans.
So what are you working on now? You writing? What are you writing?
I'm writing. I just finished a record in November actually. Did some more work on it. Then there's a follow-up to that's almost finished.
Does it have a title?
Yes, Space Dust and Ocean Views.
Okay.
And there's a volume 1 and 2. I'm not sure if I'm going to change the name to the second one. I probably will. Probably call the second one something different. But they're kind of tied together because I've written, a bunch of these songs. And then I think I just finished something with Carl Denson, recording with him this week. The sax player.
I do.
Yeah. And that sounded really tough. It was good stuff he had.
So you always writing?
I'm always writing, yeah.
Every day something's happening in the head, and
yeah, I'd say there's a flow of anywhere from 20 to 100 songs going at all times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that
doesn't mean they're all going to get finished, but there's definitely, like I have the iPhone memo thing, and I play in and sing and put lyric stuff in, like I would say nonstop.
How do you keep track, or do you don't?
The phone.
That's
if it went down, I would lose it all. I literally would.
That would be bad. That would be very bad.
So maybe I should back it up.
I would back it up to the cloud. Yeah. Wherever the hell that is.
I hope I'm connected to iCloud.
You probably are. Tell me about making medicine with Tab.
Yeah.
Because not only did you help him write it, you played on it, and you produced it.
Yeah. Well, at the time we had the same manager, and I love writing, and I love producing, and I love being part of other people's creative process. So I thought, when I was invited, that it would be, really exciting to work with a strong artist like Tab, somebody that's not only that talented, but it's a very identifiable thing going on. So, and he had ideas. So he goes, "We're going out to my camp." So you drive almost an hour and a half, 45 minutes to get, an hour and 45, straight south from New Orleans. I don't even know how that's possible. You down by Cutoff, and it's way down there.
Yeah.
It's where Carl, my bass player, lives actually. It's exactly there. Got on his boat, drove another 30, 40, 45 minutes out, basically to right at the cusp, and he has a little camp there.
Yeah.
And that's where he likes to write. And the AC, the whole generator, got busted the first night. So it's hot.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It took a while, but they fixed it up. And so we wrote, the 8 songs that we co-wrote together, they were written there, or 2 of them we wrote in a boat even deeper into the swamps.
Really?
Gators all around.
Which 2? Do you remember? If not, that's fine, but I'd be really interested.
Mudboat, Melissa,
Yeah.
and The Long and Lonely Bayou, I think.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Which made sense being out there.
Oh, yeah.
I think those were the 2 we wrote out there.
And the song Medicine itself, how did that come about? Tell me, what's that song mean?
It's pretty personal, actually, because it's literally, we were messing around, and after I got sober, I got diagnosed with something, so I need this medicine for a particular issue I have. And I got out there, and I had forgotten the medicine. So we had to actually take the boat back. The manager drove all the way to New Orleans, all the way back, make sure I had the medicine for the night. So it was a big ordeal. So when we got back, well, I need my medicine. That has to be the title. So
is Tab busting your chops a little bit with the?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's an alpha dog.
I know Tab.
He's all up in there.
Yeah.
So he got all over me. We had fun with it.
That's a great album and a great song.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I knew a little bit of the background before. I didn't know what you just told me, but I knew a little bit of the background. I interviewed him
Oh, cool.
a while back. Who were your influences? I mean, and I've asked this question to lots of people, and maybe the people who are listening get tired of hearing this question, but it's important. Who are your influences? But there must be like a set of old influences, but then you must have a set of current people who are influencing you today, which I'm maybe more interested in.
I don't know. I mean, the honest truth is there's sort of a blueprint of influences that happens when you're young, and it's after that, it's really hard to get influenced the same way. It may be a song or 2 from somebody. But, I mean, I grew up with a lot of jazz. There's a lot of Miles Davis and Coltrane. And, my dad was big into a lot of stuff like that too, Art Blakey and Clifford Brown, Charlie Parker, of course. But I slid into like Ry Cooder, after Black Sabbath, after a little bit of, I guess I had a few months with Kiss when I was really young. But then ZZ Top, Robert Johnson, Ry Cooder, Little Feat, Neil Young. And then it all sort of eased from I mean, I listened to, and to be honest with you, I listened to everything.
I believe you.
Like Mozart, Vivaldi, Bach, Beethoven. I mean, everything was part of the palette on a daily basis. I'm a heavy metal guy or a blues guy. I was never like that. Never been. It was hundreds and hundreds of vinyl that I just constantly listened to. But the ones that would stick, that would make an imprint on me, would be, I think, Little Feat, Ry Cooder, Neil Young, and then Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell, Jackson Browne, Van Morrison. Robert Johnson was a big part. Muddy Waters had some stuff in there for me too.
They all make sense when I hear you saying that, and I know your music, that it all makes sense.
Yeah, and then with the jazz, you would hear I love to improvise, which would come from the world of jazz, but I never really played jazz. It never just happened naturally for me. It was more this Americana or rootsy country blues style. That was always my thing, right? But singer-songwritery, in a sense. Like, I love writing these songs.
Like Neil Young and Van Morrison.
Yes,
yeah.
Very. Would draw from all these other originating type of guys, and then you make it. The hard part today, I think, which is what a lot of people suffer from, is where do you go after? If you look at Zeppelin, they take it from the blues. Neil Young takes it from where everybody takes it from somewhere. He was into rockabilly and a lot of that, I think, rockin' stuff from the 50s. Now, if I listen to Neil Young and then I sound like him, that is not as exciting as it was for somebody like Zeppelin to try to sound like blues. Like it's harder to be original today. Does it make sense?
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
Because there's all these people in between the original.
Yeah.
So you have to navigate a little bit when you write and perform. You have to make sure that you're like, what am I saying in the middle of all these styles?
Well, you're one of the most original people out there right now. I mean, your voice alone, I mean, did that just come naturally? You open your mouth and start singing and that's the way it was? Or did you work on your voice?
I didn't work on it, but I think experience changes it. I think as you grow older, I think what I did do in the beginning, I was trying to do music that was probably meant for a more mature crowd, but I didn't have that much experience in my early 20s. Late 30s, now I'm catching up. I have something to say, 40s and now late 40s, and next year I'll be 50.
Right.
I think now it's starting to make sense to be the guy that can tell these stories and explain these things with a specific voice. Does it make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's it. My influences today, I don't know. I mean, I listen more to little bits here and there from things. There'll be a commercial, there's a cool guitar, acoustic thing. I like acoustic music lately. It's been driving me pretty good. A couple of rock things here and there, but usually it's more of an acoustic thing that's more of a soothing effect on me that I prefer. But I like the Lafayette band, the Givers, a pop band from there, very unique, sort of world beat, Afro, but very cool vocals. Citizen Cope I've always liked. You know, he has a thing he's doing. I'm a big fan of Tabs. I thought My Morning Jacket did a few things that were pretty cool. What else have I listened to? Like I'm trying to go through what my wife listens to, a lot of stuff, and my daughter. So I learn from them, and they play, you know, more up-to-date stuff.
Do they play music as well?
Yeah. No, they don't perform.
They just listen.
Yeah, my daughter sings and plays the little piano and ukulele, but I don't think she's pursuing a career in that way. But there's so much good stuff.
Yeah.
It's hard to pinpoint.
Oh yeah,
just a few.
I know. The first time I saw you live was Mountain Jam 2012.
Oh.
And we had just got there, and I wanted to make sure I saw you, and you were already on stage, and I was a little upset we missed the opening. And I walk in, and there you are, and the next thing I know, this guy walks out with the pedal steel, and he's playing it around his neck. Roosevelt Collier was playing with you, right?
He's fantastic.
And that's the first time I ever saw him. I didn't know anything about him.
He's wonderful.
And you guys together were amazing, and that's stuck with me from it's been 3 years now.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, that was great.
Very cool.
So is there anybody you want to play with that's out there that you haven't got a chance to play with?
No, anybody, they'll have me.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't have a specific thing.
I interviewed Samantha Fish 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
she said I asked her that question, and she said, well, we were just talking about Anders. I've never played with him. I'd like to play with him.
Well, I'd like to play with him.
So maybe I could get that, because maybe I can get that set up.
That.
Yeah.
So we're getting close? I need like a little...
Whenever you want, we can be done.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, so I appreciate your time, Anders.
Is that okay?
That's fine. I really appreciate your time, and I'm looking forward to the show tonight.
Beautiful.
And thank you very much.
You're awesome. Thank
right.
you, Steve.